Who doesn't love flowers, particularly moms? So this week's episode on YouTube is all about Mom and Mother's Day. First of all, I want you to think outside the box when it comes to floral bouquets. And then we'll step over into the kitchen and learn about the mothers of all sauces. And finally, I couldn't resist, Mother Goose, and a tip of the cap to those stepping up to be moms. So I hope you enjoy this video. We're not gonna be covering roses, that's in a later episode, so look for that. But what I'd love for you to do is subscribe to my channel. And if you like what you see, ring the bell so that you'll get notifications of episodes coming up. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Mother's Day. Who doesn't love to receive a beautiful bouquet, particularly when it's really fragrant? I want to give you an idea of thinking outside the box with regard to bouquets by integrating lots of beautiful herbs. We're going to start by taking a piece of brown craft paper. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to cut this into a square. The size of this will depend on the size of bouquet you want to create. But I'm just taking about a 14-inch square piece of paper. And with that, I'm going to do a bouquet of herbs that I just gathered out of the garden. I'm going to use some thyme, this beautiful rosemary. I wish you could smell how gorgeous this is. Taking my spiky rosemary, which is the tallest, and I'm putting it toward the back of this bouquet. Then I'm going to add some of this beautiful gray colored sage. It's so aromatic, and I love the contrast. See, texture is so important, just as important as color in my opinion. And then what we might do is add some of this ferny, soft, ethereal looking dill. So as I create the bouquet, I just hold it tightly. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this off. They're all the same length. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of this floral tape and I'm going to tie the bundle together. Just a couple of rounds of that. And then to make the bouquet presentable, what I'm going to do is take a sandwich bag and a little bit of paper towel that I'm going to moisten, some water. I'm going to wrap the bottom stems of this, drop it in the sandwich bag like this. We'll have a little extra plastic with the sandwich bag, and so I'll just pull that around. And I'm going to take a piece of this jute, tie this off securely. Now with the moisture in here, the bouquet will last much longer. Okay, now let's talk about the presentation. I'm going to take the bouquet and lay it roughly the center point of this diagonal 14-inch square. I'm going to fold off the corners like this, just to give it a nicer little presentation edge. I'm going to fold it over like this. And take the bottom up and then pull the left side over and around like that. So you can see we have a craft paper cone for it. And now it's just a matter of tying it off with another piece of this jute twine. Now to make it even more special, you can add your favorite flowers to this bouquet. Like white tulips are a classic. They blend beautifully with the sage, the dill, the rosemary, and the thyme. And there you have it, a beautiful and fragrant bouquet, something that's a little out of the ordinary.
Today we are covering the 5 mother sauces. They are the basis of most French sauces, and they are simply a fat, a flour, and a liquid. And so our first one is bechamel. Bechamel is a white roux. It's equal parts flour and butter and milk. And it is the basis for sauces for lasagna and macaroni and cheese. And you can make cheese sauce just by adding Parmesan or Gruyere to it. So we'll add a little bit, and now it's Mornay. And our second sauce, velouté, is very similar to bechamel. It's also started with a blonde roux, so equal parts fat and flour, and then you can use a white stock. It can be chicken, fish, or vegetable as long as the bones haven't been roasted. Third, we have espagnole. Espagnole is also called brown sauce. You start with a brown roux, so you're gonna cook the flour and butter until the roux is mahogany consistency. And from here, you'll add either a beef or veal stock. So it's used a lot for meat sauces. And fourth, we have hollandaise. Hollandaise is one of the only mother sauces that's actually used as is. Hollandaise is thickened with egg yolks. So it's egg yolks and clarified butter, and then it's finished with lemon. The butter is clarified by cooking it and skimming off all the milk fats. You can change hollandaise to béarnaise by adding chervil, tarragon, and shallots to it. So we'll just add that in. And béarnaise is used a lot on steaks, asparagus. It's really a fancier version of hollandaise. And you can use white wine instead of lemon if you'd like, but that'll stop the cooking process. And our last sauce is tomato. I've got shallots, carrots, celery, and some red peppers and rosemary. And we're gonna take our Juliet tomatoes that we have roasted and came straight from the garden. So we're just gonna add this. We've already cooked down our vegetables to get a little caramelization on them. And add a little bit of chicken stock to it. You can use vegetable stock if you're trying to keep it vegetarian. And then we're gonna go straight into the food processor with it. All right. Tomato is probably the sauce you're most familiar with. All right. You can add a little heavy cream if you like, but I just think it needs a little salt. And now you have your basics for your mother sauces.
I've got some surrogate moms here on the farm. Let me tell you about them. Well, we've all heard Mother Goose stories, and here's a Mother Goose right here. And she's vicious, protecting her eggs. But look, I found a nest over here of some eggs that I'm gonna move under another goose because I know her eggs are infertile because there's no gander in there. It's a buff Toulouse, and this is a French goose here. So let me show you, come over here. So what I've done is I've collected these eggs I found 9 eggs in this nest, actually more than that, and I've left a few here, but I've collected the freshest eggs out of here. These are all fertile, or I hope they are, because this flock behind me is full of both males and females. And so what I'm doing is I'm picking up these eggs, being very careful with them. I washed my hands so there was no trace of oil or anything on my skin. I'm not washing the eggs at all because there's a certain film on the egg that actually helps the goslings, so we want to leave those alone. So we're going to go into the next pen. I'm going to take away some eggs that I know are rotten because they're infertile, and this goose has been on the nest long enough. I know that she's not going to move an inch. She's a big, fat, buff goose, a mother goose. Come look at her. Okay, you can see her here. She's a buff Toulouse. She's a big girl, and she's been here for almost a week. Hello there, sister. Raise up. And I think she only has 1 egg under her. Come here. And I know it's infertile because there's no ganders here. Now, you want to be a mother, I know. Bless your heart. Look at her. You want to be a mommy, don't you? Okay, okay. It's all right. It's okay. So I'm going to slide these eggs under her. There you go, my dear. 1, 2. That's a nice clean one. 3. 8. 9. Now there's a good chance this whole girl will hatch off a few things. And now in about 32 days, she'll hatch some babies. And what I'll do is I'll pull this wire down here to keep another goose from getting in there and messing with her nest or a duck or something like that, because she's very almost dormant. She's not going to eat at all or drink, and this is just the way they're made. And they go through this period of dormancy, and she'll make a very good mother. So let's be hopeful that we get a hatch of beautiful little Toulouse goslings. Hey, if you love this video, make sure you comment and subscribe below.